Good evening, everyone. Right, welcome back to our sessions on Python for AI. So we'll continue from where we have stopped. Okay, we are supposed to start anonymous functions, lambda functions. Right, so we have started understanding functions in which we have understood the concepts of parameter and arguments. The types, yes. So all these topics we have covered, and post understanding what is a function, then the differences between parameters and arguments and the types, we have also understood what is global and local variable, right? Also global's function, global keyword. So all these are different topics that we have covered under functions, guys. So we have one more concept, that is anonymous functions, lambda functions. Okay, and this particular topic will be covered along with special functions. We also have special functions in Python. Okay, so what are these special functions? Where do we use? How are they helping us? Even, we'll be understanding. So that will be the agenda for the day. So let us start with lambda functions. What are these lambda functions? Also called as anonymous functions. They are also called as anonymous functions. Anonymous functions or lambda functions are those functions which does not contains any name. If you take the general functions, the normal functions, what is the syntax? How do we define a function? We use a syntax def keyword followed by function name, then parenthesis. Within the parenthesis we pass parameters, then colon, followed by our block of statements. So for a normal function, we'll have a function name. Post defining the function, we can also call the function. Whenever I want to use it, I can call the function and I'll use the function. But if you take an anonymous function or a lambda function, will not have any name. There is no name defined explicitly. Then what is the purpose of anonymous functions? Why should we use them? We have to use anonymous functions to perform instant operations. If I want to perform an operation instantly, instant at this moment, I'll define a lambda function, anonymous function. I'll use this and I'll complete my work. I'll complete my task. So that is the purpose of anonymous functions. To perform instant operations, we define anonymous functions. We use anonymous functions. And post completing the operation, we generally don't use these anonymous functions. No longer, we are interested in using the anonymous functions. Just at that moment, at that point of time, we use an anonymous function or lambda function to complete an operation. That's it. And the beauty of anonymous function or lambda functions is they just contain only a single executable statement. You'll have the entire function in a single statement. only in one line. Just in one line, we are going to get we are going to have the function, lambda function. And a lambda function or anonymous function, they returns the result, okay, after executing this single statement. Post executing this statement, the result will be returned. We'll get the result. We need not use any kind of, statements, the keywords like return. If you take a normal function, if you want to have the results to be returned, we use a keyword called return. But lambda functions or anonymous functions, we need not use this keyword called return. Okay, so they return the result just after executing the this statement, it will return the result. How do we define anonymous functions? Because this is the syntax for a normal function. If I want to define a normal function, I have to follow the syntax. In the same way, how am I supposed to define an anonymous function? A keyword called lambda. A keyword called lambda will be used. That is why an anonymous function is also called as lambda function. Why are they called as lambda functions? Because a keyword named as lambda, we have a keyword called lambda, and that is used in defining a anonymous function. We have the syntax. The syntax is variable name is equals to lambda keyword, then the parameters list, colon, or single statement. Variable is equals to lambda keyword followed by parameters list, colon, single statement. So here we'll keep the logic. The entire logic will be kept in only one single statement. And this statement will get executed. So the explanation for the syntax is the variable name is nothing but the object. So it takes, it is an object of function, guys. When you are trying to, get the type of this variable name, it returns as class of object, it returns class of function. So this variable is an object of function. And moreover, the variable itself acts as an anonymous function. Why? There is no name. No name explicitly will be passed or will be defined for an anonymous function. Because of this, the variable name itself acts as a name for anonymous functions. Then coming to the lambda, lambda is a keyword, so which is used to define anonymous functions. I can define an anonymous function using lambda keyword. That is why they are called as anonymous functions or lambda functions. Then param list, a list of formal parameters. Here we pass parameters, the formal parameters, which helps us to store the input values coming from the function calls. Post defining, we'll call the function. During the function call, we'll pass the values for the parameters. Yes. So in order to store these values, we define formal parameters in the function definition. And the finally single statement, it is, a valid Python executable statement. We'll have only a single statement, which is an executable Python statement. That's it. So this is the overview of anonymous function, guys. Lambda functions. I hope it's clear because, the syntax is very simple and even the sentences, whatever we have tried to understand, the concept with respect to anonymous or lambda functions, it is very clear, right? So let us work out on a few examples to understand more about anonymous functions or lambda functions. Clear? So let me go back. The syntax for lambda functions, variable name is equals to lambda keyword followed by params list, parameters, the list of formal parameters, colon, then the single executable Python statement. That's it. Yes. So let me come up with some examples. What are we doing? What are we doing in line number 44403? What is this? This is a function. Is this a lambda function? Anonymous function? No. It is a normal function. We are defining a function called as sum op, sum operation. Sum operation is a function which helps us to sum up two values. So A and B are what? What are A and B? A and B are formal parameters. They are parameters. It's a normal function. We are defining it, and our block of statements, we have it as addition of the two numbers A and B. And we are using the return keyword to return the output C. The sum will be returned when we call the function. So I'm defining a normal function, guys. It's not a lambda function. It is a normal function. Let me define it. Done. Done. And moreover, I want everyone to respond in the chat. Okay. What are we doing in the next case? Line number 4407. 4407. What kind of function it is? It is a lambda function. It is an anonymous function. How do you identify? We can identify with the keyword itself, guys. We are defining a lambda function, an anonymous function, and it is exactly the same syntax that we have understood earlier. What does the syntax say? Variable name is equals to lambda keyword followed by param list, parameters, colon, single Python executable statement. So what does our statement says? A plus B. What are A and B? A and B are nothing but our formal parameters. They are formal parameters. So I can understand this is a lambda function, an anonymous function, and in anonymous functions or lambda functions, we will not have a function name for the anonymous functions. Will not have the name for the function. So the variable name itself will become a function name. Right? So let me execute. First of all, done. Yes. add OP is a variable name in this line of code. Fine. So that means I have defined a normal function and I have also defined an anonymous function. Then what are we doing in line number 4409? 4409. What are we calling? We are calling a normal function. We are calling a normal function. What is sum OP here? Sum OP is a normal function. It is not a anonymous function. So I'm calling a normal function and I'm passing the values 10, 20. Arguments we are passing. During the function call, we are passing the arguments. So tell me what will be the output for the result? What will be the output for the result? The output will be 10 plus 20. The output will be 30. See. Done? Yes. Then in the next line, printing the type of sum OP. What will be the output? We know the output will be a function because sum OP is a function. So obviously the type of sum OP will be a function. It belongs to a function object. It is the function object. Then next to it, what are we doing? Again we are printing a message, but formatting will be done. What value gets formatted? Result. The value that result has storing gets formatted at this place. So the output will be sum by using normal function is equals to 30. Right? Then printing stars. How many? Sorry, I'm just printing hyphens just to tell that we are done with the program. So I'm just printing hyphens. How many? 60. 60 hyphens we are printing. Then now I'm calling lambda function. We are calling lambda function. What is the function name? Add OP. We know that anonymous functions does not have any name. So the variable itself acts as a function name. Variable name will act as the function name. Add OP of 10, 20. What will be the output for line number 4413? So A takes 10 and B takes 20. 10, 20. So the output will be A plus B. Nothing but 10 plus 20. The output will be 30. 30 will be the output. In the sense 30 gets stored in RES. A new variable RES where the type will be int, size of the value will be 1 and the value will be stored is 30. So either I use a normal function or anonymous function, the output is same. Clear? Let me execute. Done. Do you see the same values? Yes. I'm also going to get the type of add OP. It will be a function again. It's a function object. And We are going to format the value of res in a message and we are going to print it. So the output will be same. Sum by using anonymous function is equals to 30. Simple guys. Either you use a normal function or an anonymous function. If you are using the same logic, the output will be same. That is what we have understood from example 1. From this particular example, we have understood the output of both normal and anonymous functions are same when the logic is same. And we have also noticed the difference between the syntaxes between normal function and anonymous function. Now let us go to the next example. This time you guys have to respond. What are we doing in the next example? What kind of function it is? 4417. Double 417. What kind of function it is? We are defining a lambda function. This is a lambda function, anonymous function. How we are able to identify? Based on the keyword. The syntax is variable name is equals to lambda keyword followed by params list, parameters, colon, single Python executable statement. So what we are doing? We are just returning the product of two numbers. When we pass values for L and B, the product will be returned. Clear? Yes. Let me define the function. Done. Then I'm using input function and float function to get the value for L. So input function will read the data from the keyboard and that data, whatever the input function reads, by default it uses str type to store the value and that value is being converted to float value. Type conversion is what it is performing. So let me execute L and even for B it is the same, length and breadth. So it is asking us to enter the values for length. I am passing 5 and even for breadth, let me pass 9. I'll click on enter. See, L takes 5.0, P takes 9.0. Stores 5.0 and 9.0. Why? Type conversion, float. Float is the function which we are using to convert the values. Then next to it, we are calling the function. As we know that anonymous functions don't have a name. They don't have the function name. The variable name will be used as the function name. Rect area. Nothing but rectangular area of L comma B. Where L takes 5.0 and B takes 9.0. These values will be passed to the parameters and the output will be, what will be the area? What will be the output? 9 multiplied by 5. 45.0. 45.0. Right? And I'm going to print the area of the rectangle, the message, and we are also performing the formatting. So the output will be area of rectangle is equals to 45.0. Then just printing or if not, if I can also do both the lines in just one single line. Within the print function, I'll have the message to which the formatting has to be done. And within the format function, instead of getting the value stored from the variable, I'll directly use the lambda function, the anonymous function in the format function. So anyhow, the output will be seen. Area of rect is equals to 45.0. But we are doing in different approaches. We are able to get the same output in different approaches. See, this is length and this is breadth. Okay. Then what are we doing? I'm using the same lambda function, same anonymous function we are using. Yes. Then you see here in just one line, okay, within the print function, we have a message to which the formatting will be done where the rect area, nothing but the anonymous function we are calling it, to which the values will be passed directly. So it is asking, it is using the input and float functions. Okay. So it asks the end user to pass the values for length and breadth, and those values will be used for the parameters L and B, and it executes the single executable statement. It calculates the product, and that product value will be formatted in the message. So the same code just in 2 lines. Here it almost took 4 to 5 lines, but only in 2 lines. See, so it is asking us to enter the length 5, and for breadth and also passing the same value 9. What about the output? The output is same. There is no change in the output. No. Clear? Yes. Now, in the next example, next case, we are coming up with one more lambda function, and this function is going to find the biggest number. The biggest number. So let us understand the syntax. Lambda keyword followed by parameters list, colon. Then we have the single executable statement. How we have to interpret it is from here. If we have a if else statement, a conditional statement type is what we have in the single executable statement. If x greater than y, it will return x. If x greater than y, between x and y, we are trying to get the biggest number. So, if this condition holds true, it will return x, else y. Just in one line, we have the entire statement. That is what the syntax is. In the same way, the second function, the second anonymous function that we are defining is for, finding the smallest number out of two numbers. Lambda keyword followed by the parameters kv colon, then I'll just change the operator. Instead of greater than, I'll just replace it with less than. If k is less than v, it will return k, else v. Simple? Yes, it is simple. So let me define both the functions, find big and find small. Both the anonymous functions were defined. Then using input function and int function, we are going to accept the values from the user, where the values will be stored in A and B. So let us pass the values for first value. 200 gets stored for A. See, observe. Then it is asking us to enter a second value. So let me pass 500. 500 will be stored to B. Now I am going to call the two anonymous functions, find big and find small. I'm going to call both the functions find big and find small. Right? So we are going to print the message in which the formatting will be done, where A value gets formatted in the first place, B value gets formatted in the second place, and the output of find big anonymous function will be formatted in the last place. So the output will be like max of 200, 500 is equals to 500. Accepted or not? Will you accept? Yes. Why? It checks for the condition. Is A greater than B? No. The condition is false. 200 is not greater than 500. So it will not return X. The condition is false. So obviously it goes to the else block and prints, it returns B. Nothing but Y. In the same way, what will be the output for line number 4436? For 4436, the output will be 200. Why? Because we are using anonymous function find small. We are using anonymous function find small. Clear? Yes. In the same way, we also have one more example for finding the biggest and the smallest number when there are three numbers. If there are three numbers in the picture, so obviously I have to come up with additional conditions. So try to understand line number 4438. It's an anonymous function where it takes three values x, y, z. If x is greater than y and x is greater than z, it will return x as the output, else y. Okay, so this part, let me keep it here. If both the conditions, when does an logical AND operator return true? When both the conditions hold true, only then x will be returned. If not, If this any of the condition is false, it goes to the next if statement where it checks for y greater than z and y greater than x. If both the conditions are true again, then it returns y. What if any of the condition is false? It just goes and returns z. Next to it, you will have only z, else z. Simple guys. We are trying to find the biggest of three numbers. So I'm using logical and operator. In the same way, we are coming up with one more lambda function, an anonymous function for finding the smallest of three elements. Out of the three values, what is the smallest one? I'll just replace the upper, the previous case, in the previous example, in the previous function, whatever the operator we have, I'll reverse it greater than to less than. I'll do the same for everything. I'll get the, single statement for find small. So I'm defining both of these two, find big and find small. And next to it, we are going to accept the values from the user, A, B, C. So let me pass the values for A, B, C. 5, 6, 7. A, B, C takes 5, 6, 7. Now we are going to call which function? Find big. So the output will be max of 5, 6, 7 is equals to 7. In the same way, we are going to call find small. We are going to call find small. So this find small will return us the smallest value out of the three. The output will be 5. Clear? Yes. One more function similar to it. One more lambda function. What values are we going to? How many values? 3 parameters. Lambda keyword followed by 3 parameters. Then we have the single statement. Let us understand it. The statement says if x is equals to y and y is equals to z, it returns values are equal. Value are equal. So this is the entire condition. X is equals to y and y is equals to z and x is equals to z. So this is the entire condition. If all these conditions hold true, it returns value are equal. What if the conditions, any one of the condition is false? It goes to the next if statement, okay, and checks. If x greater than y and x greater than z, it will return x. What if any of these condition is false? It goes to the next if statement. If y greater than z and y greater than x, it will return y. What if all these conditions are false? It just returns z. So the same condition that we have defined in the previous case, but additionally we have also added one more condition. What it is? If all of these values are same, it will return values are equal. It will return values are equal. This is for finding the biggest number. right? Yes, we have defined. Then the second one is finding the smallest, the same condition, there is no change. I'm taking it as it is. Then passing the values for A, B, C. Okay, so let me try passing same values for all A, B, C. Let's see what happens. 5, 5 and 5. A holds value 5, B holds value 5 and C holds value 5. So what will be the output if I call the function find big? What will be the output, guys? The output will be value are equal. Why? The first condition is holding true. The condition that we have in the if statement is holding true. As all the conditions are holding true, logical AND operator will return true. Clear? Then what will be the output for line number 4454? If I call find small, if I return, if I, call find small anonymous function, what will be the output? Fine, accepted. What if I call find small? What will be the output? Will it be the same output? Do you see any values are equal here? No, right? So what will be the output? The output will be 5, guys. 5 will be the output. Why? As this condition is not holding true, it goes to the next condition. This is also not holding true. It will return R. What is R? Nothing but C. The output will be 5. It will not be value are equal. No. Right. Next example. Yes. The next example. We are defining a lambda function, an anonymous function we are defining. Then, how many parameters do you see here? Only one parameter. Only a single parameter. And what is our single statement saying? It says max. I'm using a function called max of this parameter. Okay. So the maximum value of this object should be returned as output. Then coming to find small, it is a anonymous function again where we are passing a single parameter. Okay. And the single statement says min of the object. So which will return the minimum value. These two are functions. Maximum and minimum are two functions in Python. We are using them in the single executable statement. So I have defined, assume that I have defined. Now, what are we doing in the next line? We are defining a list object of multiple values. There are multiple, many. And this list object will be used, it will be passed to both find big and find small. I'm passing the list object as input to find big and find small functions, anonymous functions. So what will be the output for line number 4460 and 4461? The maximum function will return the maximum value in the list object. So the output will be 100. And the min function will return the minimum value. What is the minimum value? Minus 30. Yes. So let us cross check. Are these the results? $100 and minus 30. Good. Then I'm taking the same functions, both the same two anonymous functions we are taking. Okay. But what do you see the difference? What is the difference that you see here? I see the difference is, instead of passing a list object in this fashion, we are getting the list from the end user. How? I'll tell you. We are printing a message to enter the list of values separated by spaces. And this is called list comprehension. This is called list comprehension. So we'll be understanding this list comprehensions in the next topic. But anyhow, we are going to create a list using list comprehension. So how to interpret this list comprehension is, we have the loop, a for loop. Yes. So what does this for loop says? In the for loop, the syntax for the for loop is for keyword, then followed by the variable name, then in keyword, then iterable object. Right? We have an input function. So this input function will ask us to enter the values, and these values will be splitted. And finally, all the values that we pass will be converted back to int objects, and that gets stored to a list. And this entire list object will be stored in LST. Let me execute. See, under execution, and it is asking me to enter the values. So let me pass all the values: 2 space 3 space 5 space 9 space minus 5 space minus 4 space 0 space 1. Okay, so I am passing all the values that I would like to have in the list object, and I'll click on enter. That's it. Immediately you see here, are these the values that we have passed? Yes, these are the values that we have passed, and all of these are present in a list. Okay, we'll talk about list comprehension in the next topic, not here. And we are trying to get the biggest value of the list object, and in the same way we are going to get the smallest value of the list object. So what will be the output here? For line number 4468, the output will be 9. 4469 minus 5. Minus 5 will be the output. Clear? Yes. So we have worked out on multiple examples with respect to anonymous functions, also called as lambda functions, because of in the syntax we are using lambda keyword That is why anonymous functions are also called as lambda functions. Let us understand the differences between lambda functions and the normal functions. We'll quickly cover the differences. What are the differences that we have between normal functions and lambda functions or anonymous functions? Right? Yes. Normal functions are, we always define them for performing a certain operation, where we are going to use these normal functions, we'll be reusing them in the other part of our script, in other part of our source script, Python project. But when it comes to anonymous functions, the lambda functions, they are generally defined for instant operations. The main difference, normal functions for reusability, anonymous functions for instant operations. Clear? Then, a normal function will contain a block of statements. There are multiple block of statements. We can define multiple statements. Yes. But whereas an anonymous function will just contain a single statement. Within a single statement, we should have the entire, the logic. Then the other difference, coming to the third point, a normal function, it contains name, def keyword followed by function name. So explicitly, the user have to come up with a name for a normal function. But anonymous function, is there any name? Do you observe any name in the syntax? No. Explicitly, there is no any name given to the anonymous functions. That is why the variable name acts as a variable. The variable name acts as the function name. Then, the fourth point, the fourth difference, normal functions can return the output, the values, by using a return statement. We use a return keyword explicitly within the block of statements, within the function of a normal function. We explicitly use return keyword. Return keyword will be used to return the values. But we need not use any kind of return keyword explicitly when it comes to anonymous functions. Why? Implicitly, this return keyword is present in the anonymous functions. So we need not use any kind of keyword like return explicitly. Not required. Yes, no need of return keyword. And finally, we define a normal function using def keyword and anonymous functions using lambda keyword. Very, very, very important. The differences between, normal function and anonymous functions. If you are able to tell all the 5 differences, accepted. All the 5. Normal functions for reusability, anonymous functions for instant operations. The first difference. Second difference, normal functions contain block of statements, anonymous functions contain just single statement, only one. Third difference, normal functions have names, but anonymous functions, we don't have names for the functions. Fourth difference, normal functions, in order to return the values, we have to use keyword return. But Anonymous functions, we need not use any kind of return keyword because implicitly the keyword return is present inside the anonymous functions. And the final difference, we use def keyword to define a normal function and we use a lambda keyword to define anonymous functions or lambda functions. Clear? All the 5 differences you have to memorize. There is no other option. Very important is. Right. So we have understood anonymous functions as well. Then let us also understand 3 more functions. They are called as special functions in Python. They are called as special functions. What are the 3 special functions in Python? The first one is filter. The second one is map. And the final one is reduce. Very, very important because we frequently use these 3 special functions. Right? So focus guys. 3 special functions we will be understanding along with the use cases, examples. Let us understand filter function first. So what is this filter function? What is the purpose of using filter function is, filter function is used to filter out some of the elements, not all. It depends. Okay. For filtering some of the elements from list of elements. How? By applying these elements to a function. So filter function is actually performing filtering. This filtering will be done based on the function. And the syntax of filter function is variable name is equals to filter function of function name and iterable object. What are iterable objects in Python? What are iterable objects? Iterable objects are the objects which have multiple values, which contains multiple elements. So filter function will have both function name and an iterable object. So what happens is, we have the explanation. See, when you try to get the type of this variable name, you'll get the output as a filter object. This will be a filter object. And we can convert to any iterable object by performing typecasting functions. We can perform type conversion and we can convert the type. That can be done. Coming to the function name, it can be a normal function or anonymous function. Anything accepted. You can pass a normal function or anonymous function. Coming to iterable object, what are the different iterable objects we have in Python? Sequence category data types, list category objects, set category objects, and even dict types. All of these are iterable objects in Python. So anyone is accepted, guys. Any one of these will be accepted. Now let us understand the execution of filter function. Filter function takes each value. So iterable object is nothing but an object which contains multiple values. So filter function, what it does is, it passes each value of this iterable object to the function. A normal function or anonymous function, whatever it might be, the values of the iterable object will be passed to the function. Right? So in the function, if the function is able to return true, okay, if the function returns true, then that element or the value will be filtered. First element or value 1 of the iterable object is passed to function name. And when we passed, if it is returning true, this value 1 or element 1 will be filtered. What if the function returns false? The element will be neglected. If the function is returning true, it filters. If the element returns false, if for the value or the element, if it returns false, it will be neglected, ignored. And this process will be continued for all the elements of iterable object. For all the elements of the iterable object, the same journey will be continued, and accordingly, it will filter only the elements or the values for which the function returns true. And if the function returns false, the values will be ignored, neglected. Simple? Yes. Let us also work on a few examples coming to filter function. Okay. And see how we are able to use filter function. Right. So what are we doing here, guys? What is this? It is a list object. A list object of multiple elements, multiple values. So I'm creating a list object. What is the size? It is 9. 9 elements are present in it. Both positive and negative integers is what we have. See. Then I am coming up with a function. What kind of function this might be? Is it an anonymous function or normal function? What do you say? def keyword followed by the function name. Then next to it we have parameters. Then the block of statements. Block of statements. So it is a normal function. It is not a anonymous function. Where is the keyword lambda? Until unless if you see the keyword lambda, and if it is following the syntax of anonymous function, only then it is a lambda function or anonymous function. This is a normal function and the function name is decide. It is decide. And what is the logic says, our block of statement says, we have an if-else statement in which in the if statement we have a condition. If the n value is greater than 0, then it will return 2. If this condition is holding true, it goes inside the if block and returns true. What if the condition is false? It goes to else block and returns false. So this is the logic or block of statements that we have inside the normal function. So assume that I have defined. Now I'm using filter function. And what does the syntax of filter function says? Filter function of function name, comma, iterable object. What function are we passing? Decide. It's a normal function. Then what is iterable object that we are passing? It's a list object which contains 9 elements, 9 values, 9. So tell me what will be the output of line number 4483 when I use filter function on this iterable object. If you understood the concept of filter, you should tell me the answer for line number 4483. What happens initially? The first value will be, it will be given to the function. The function will pass the value 10 and it checks for the condition. Is 10 greater than 0? Yes, the condition is true. It enters inside and it is also returning true. When the function returns true, that element will be filtered. So this filter function will return 10. Then comma. The second element, minus 20. Minus 20 will be given to function decide. And is the condition true? No. Is minus 20 greater than 0? False. False. So if the condition that we have in the if statement is false, it goes to the else block and it returns false. The function is returning false. So the element will be ignored. The element will be ignored. This process will be continued till all the elements of the iterable object, the list object. So what will be the output? Only the elements which are positive. Only the positive integers will be filtered. Why? The condition will be satisfied only by the positive integers. The output will be 10, 30, 41, then 67. What about the negative integers? They will be ignored. Ignored by the filter function. Understood or not? If you understand, I can go to the next example. If you don't understand, there is no use. That is why. So, filter function is helping us to filter the values where all the elements of the iterable object will be passed to the function, and the function, if it is returning true, those values will be filtered, and if the function returns false, that elements will be ignored. So let me execute, guys. I have created a list object and creating a function, normal function, and using both of them in the filter function. Done. You see, A is a filter object. Are you able to see the values? No. Let me get the type of A. It is filter object. Then let me print the values of A which contains. Do you see the values? No, it is in the encrypted format. It is just giving the address at which the A stored in the memory, right? For that, we are converting object A to list. We are performing type conversion. A filter object is being converted to list object. And now I am able to see the output. PS list. What are the values? 10, 30, 41, 67. Right? Yes. Let me also print the output to the console. A list object of size 4. Understood? Very simple, guys. Okay. Now, in the same way, what do you observe the difference between the previous example and this example? We are coming up with a normal function in the previous example, but now we are coming up with an anonymous function. The same logic, Yes. The logic is same. Even the values are also same. So even the output should be same. See, filter function, it passes all the values of the LST to the decide, which is an anonymous function. It prints the type of A, which is filter, and what kind of content we'll have. We'll have all these elements, but will it display as it is? No. It will return as the location of A in the memory. So for that, I'm performing type conversion, converting into a list and printing the list. Clear? Yes. Now, try to understand, guys. In the next example, what are we doing? This is a list object which contains multiple elements. How many elements? 9 elements. Same. Okay, it is same list object. Fine. Then, within one line, I'm using the same function. The same anonymous function is used and the same list object is used for it is passed an iterable object and we are passing these two to the filter function and finally converting the output to a tuple object. So the output will be seen instead of returning a list object, it will return a tuple object now. The elements will be same. See, there is no change. No change with respect to the output, but only the type of object it has returned is changed. Why? Because of the function, tuple function. Earlier, it is list. Now, tuple. Conversions. Yes. Right. Understand this code. So, we are using input function. Okay. So, it is asking us to enter how many elements you have. That number will be converted to the int type. The type conversion will be done. So probably let me give 4. Is the condition that we have in the if statement is true? No. The condition that we have here is false. 4 is not less than 0. So when the condition is false, it does not execute the block of statements that we have in the if block. It comes to else block and start executing from here. So what are we doing? Creating an empty list object, then printing 50 hyphens. Then next to it, we are formatting the value of n just to enter 4 elements. Enter 4 elements will be printed and it will print again 50 hyphens. Then it will start executing for loop. For loop will be executed where I takes each and every value from the range object 1 comma 5. What will be the output? Range of 1 comma 5. Range of 1 comma 5. The output will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So I initially takes 1. Then it enters the block. It enters the loop. Input function is executed. So it reads the data from the keyboard. Right? So we have to pass a value for the first iteration. When I takes 1, we have to pass a value. That value gets stored to this val and the value gets appended to this list. So in this way, the loop will be executed for 4 times, I from 1 till 4. So 4 values will be appended to the empty list object initially. Then along with the for block, we also have else block. We also have else block which prints 50 hyphens. Yes. And it also prints the list object that got created here. Yes. Again, it will print 50 hyphens. Next to it, we are using the filter function. We are using a filter function where I am passing anonymous functions inside it. What does the first anonymous function say? It is again the same. Only the positive elements, elements which are greater than 0 will be part of the output, and that output will be a list. What about the second function? The second function logic says if the elements are less than 0, then they has to be filtered. So that means that these are positive and these are negative. The negative elements will be returned. And what will be the output? It will be a set. But when it is a set, will it allow duplicates? No. Since it is a set object, we cannot have duplicates. We'll do it anyways. And what about the third function? The third function says if there are any zeros, only those values should be returned. Those elements have to be filtered. And finally, the filter object getting converted to tuple. So these are zeros. And we are going to print all of them. All the objects, list, set and tuple objects we are going to print at the last again 50 hyphens will be printed. Simple guys. Within one program, how many filter functions did we use? 3. So in this one program, we are covering all the topics of Python. Data types, operators, functions, right? Different types of functions, anonymous functions, special functions, type conversion, print function. So you have to be very clear on the basics. If you are clear on the basics, whatever might be the Python program, it will be very simple for us to go through it. Easily we can understand. Right? So let me execute and pass the values. You just, pay attention. That's it. I have passed the value for n as 4. I'm done with it. So it is starting. It has asked me to pass the values because here we have input function, right? So it is asking me to pass the values. Probably one is 2. The other one is -3. And the other one is 0. And the last one is -3 again. Assume. These are the values that I am passing for the list. So can you tell me the output for line number 4519 and 4520 and 4521? What will be the output? If I pass these values, what will be the output for the 3 filter functions? Good. Will it return 0, 2? No. Is 0 greater than 0? No, right? So here I'll get only 2. Here Will I get minus 3 comma minus 3? No, it is a set object, right? Duplicates will not be allowed. Only minus 3. And for the last line, it will be 0. So let me click on enter. See, a list object, a set object, and a tuple object are written. Accepted, understood, simple, yes. So yes, a set object will not have duplicates. It will never accept duplicates. No. In the same way, what am I doing? I'm using the concept of list comprehensions and the same functions, guys. The same functions are used. There is no change with respect to the other lines of code except line number 4, 5 to 8. What am I doing? I'm using list comprehension. So let me execute all these lines together. So it is asking us to enter the list of elements separated by space. So I'll pass 2, 3, 5, minus 56, minus 23, minus 82, 0, 0, 2, 3, 5, and 5, as well as minus 23. I'm passing all the values that I would like to have in the list. So what will be the output for the 3 lines again? All the 3 lines, what will be the output? Yes, what will be the output? In the list object, can we have duplicates? Yes, we can have duplicates. So the output will be 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, and 5. Accepted. For the next line, it is a set object. So obviously we can have minus 56, minus 23, and minus 82 as output. Good. We cannot have duplicates within the set object. So minus 23 will not be repeated. No. And finally, what about the tuple object? What about the tuple object? The output. Zero comma 0. Good. In a tuple, we can have duplicates. So the output will be 0 comma 0. Right. So I'll click on execute. The output matches? Yes. I hope we have understood filter function. What is the syntax? Filter function of function, comma, iterable object. Function name, comma, iterable object. So this function can be both normal function or anonymous function. Clear? Yes. Let us go and understand the next special function map. The next special function map. So map is used to obtain a new iterable object. We can obtain a new iterable object from the existing iterable object. So there is already an existing iterable object. Using this, we are going to get a new iterable object. How? By applying the old iterable object to a function. Even if you see the syntax of map, the syntax is variable name is equals to map of function name comma iterable object. Function name comma iterable object. So using this iterable object, by applying this iterable object to by applying these values to the function, we are going to get an iterable object again. So that is how map function helps us. So if you see here, the explanation for the map function, what type of object it is? It is a map object. And we can convert this map object to any iterable object. Like how we are able to convert filter to any other iterable objects. In the same way, even map can be converted to other iterable objects. And the function can be normal function or anonymous functions. It can be normal function or anonymous function. Iterable objects, objects which contains multiple values, multiple elements. Sequence, list, set or dict. Any of these types. And the execution process of map is map function. It sends every element, each and every element of value 1, value 2, value 3, so on, value n. Each and every value will be sent to the function. Value 1 will be sent to the function. What happens? This function will process value 1 and it modifies the result of the value. Okay. And the new elements will be obtained. This is going to return us a new element for the value 1. Even it does the same for value 2. A new element. So on, element n. So the same process will be continued for all the elements that are present in the iterable object. Filter function, it is doing the same. The syntax is same, but the purpose is different. It filters the elements where the function returns true. For any of the values, if the function returns true, they will be filtered. They will be returned. If the function returns false, they will be ignored. But here, as we are using map function, even all the values, all the elements of the iterable object will be passed to function. But what does function does? It processes the values and it returns the modified results for all the elements of iterable object. Clear? So let us understand a few examples on map as well, map function. What are we doing here? We are defining a function hike. The function name is hike and the parameter that we are using is sal. Okay. So where we are actually providing increment. See, this is nothing but sal multiplied by 1.02. I can also keep it as like this, sal plus sal multiplied by 0.02, yes. And we are returning the salary. So, this is a normal function where the function name is hike. Hike is the function name and the value gets multiplied by 1.02. So 2% hike. So what we do is we also have an iterable object, list object. How many elements? 5 elements. And I'm going to pass both the function hike and the iterable object old old salaries list to the function map. I'll pass both function and the iterable object list to map function. So each and every element will be passed to the function. Initially 10 will be passed and it multiplies the value of 10 with 1.02 and returns the salary. So that means it will return a new iterable object. Where do we have it? It is going to stored in obj object. OBJ. It is a type of map object. What kind of object it is? Map. So type of OBJ will return as map. What am I doing? I am performing conversion. I am converting this map object to list object. List of OBJ will return as a list object now. Yes. Where did we store it? New salary list. Here we have old salaries multiplied by 1.02. This is again a iterable object. So I'm just printing both of them, old and new. Clear? How map function works? It's very clear, right? A map function will take an old iterable object and all the elements or the values of this old iterable object will be passed to a function, and this function will process each and every element of the old iterable object and it will return as a new iterable object. What is a new iterable object? This. Clear? Yes. So I'm using the same logic but just changing the function. Function in the sense, here we went with normal function and here it is a lambda function. Right? So there is nothing difference between example 1 and example 2. The output will also be same, guys. Even the output will be same. No difference. See. 10.2, 20.4, 5.1, 30.6 and 40.8. No difference. But here, so we are using again list comprehension. Yes, we are using list comprehension. Inside it, we have the map function. The function logic is same, where the salaries will be multiplied by 1.02 for all the elements of old sal list. And the elements will be converted to a list object, a map object being converted to list object, and it gets stored to new salary list. Right? And it prints the list. Next to it, we are using for loop to print all the elements one by one. Yes. In the same way, we are also using for loop to print all the new salary list elements, but I'm additionally using a function called round, where it rounds all the values of new salary list by 2. It rounds all the values to 2 values. Fine. Next to it, it prints hyphens and it also prints old salary, tab space, new salary, and it prints hyphens again. And there is one more for loop where we are using a function called zip. It zips the values of both old salary list and new salary list. Okay, and they will be printed one by one. Both of them will be printed together. Old salary value and the new salary value will be printed side by side with a tab space between them. Right? So let me execute all these lines together. You'll probably understand. See, it is asking us to enter the values. So let me enter the values. 250, then 500, 200, 300, 275, and one last value, 100. So these are the old salaries for the employees. See what happened? We passed old salaries to the list object. Immediately, one by one, each and every line will be executed. Old salaries got printed using the for loop. Why you see the float values? Because of the float function. In the list comprehension, each and every value will be stored in the form of str because of input function, and they will be converted to the float type using float function. Okay, so the new salaries got printed, and next to it we also have old salaries and new salaries got printed. Simple. And all these values are rounded to 2 decimals. Anyhow, we have only one, that's fine. What we are doing in the next case? Again, we are using a list comprehension, but this time, what do you see? What kind of functions are they? They are anonymous function. The first function will return us the square of each and every value present in the old iterable object, and the second function will return the cube of each and every value of old iterable object, and they will be printed together. The number followed by the square and the cube. All the three will be printed, guys. Just have a look. I'm going to execute all the lines at a time. Two anonymous functions is what we have. So let me pass the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Click on enter. See. These are the numbers that we have passed. And it printed hyphens. Then it printed given number, square and cube with tab space. Then it printed hyphens again. And using the zip function, we were able to zip the values of the iterable object and the squares as well as the cubes. And finally, the hyphens again. Clear? Yes. Then one more last example where we are using list comprehension again to pass the values to the map function. Okay. To the function that is present in the map, we are using a list comprehension again, and this will be passed as an iterable object. It is again the same, but this time we are going to get only squares. Only the squares. But additionally, you see a map and filter function. Within the map function, you have a filter function. So this is very important. What happens initially, the list object elements will be used here. It checks for the condition. What is this condition? This condition says, are the elements, if they are greater than 0, if the values are greater than 0, then filter only those values. That means positive integers will be returned from here. And those values will be input for the map function, where map function is going to return the squares of these positive numbers. What about the next function, in which it is going to have the numbers where it filters the integers which are negative, less than 0. And these elements will be passed as inputs for the map function, where it is going to return the squares of all these elements, all the values. So just we have within map, we have filter function, guys. We are using filter function inside map function. This is a list object, this is a tuple object. That is the only difference. But see how we are trying on multiple examples and all of them are of different cases. Right? So let me scroll to the side. So the first one will become a list object and the second one will be a tuple object, and it will print all the three values, all the three objects, the list object, the positive square list object, and the negative square tuple object. Okay, anyhow, let me execute all these lines together. All of them we are going to execute. Done? Yes. So let me pass the list of elements that should be part of this iterable object. 2, 3, -2, -3. So what will be the output? What will be the output in this case? If I pass elements like 2, 3, -2 and -3, what will be the output? The original list is 2, 3, -2, -3. Yes. But under positive square list, we'll have the squares of only the positive numbers. And under negative square list, we'll have the squares of the negative numbers, the negative integers. Clear? Yes. A positive square list is a list object and negative square is a tuple object. Right? Yes. So with this, we have also completed map function. There is one more function called reduce. So let us quickly understand reduce function. What is this reduce function does? What does the reduce function does? A reduce function helps us to obtain only a single element or a single result given iterable object. When you pass an iterable object to a function, okay, so this iterable object will be converted to just a single element or a single value. If you observe, even the syntax of reduce is also the same. Reduce function of function name, comma, iterable object. Function name, comma, iterable object. So, iterable object are nothing but the objects which contains multiple values, multiple elements. So these multiple elements will be passed to the function. Okay. And finally, reduce function will return as only a single element or single result. That's it. That is the purpose of using reduce function. That is the purpose of reduce function. Let us understand how reduce function is going to convert it to a single element, the internal flow, right? So reduce function initially it selects two values from the iterable object. From this iterable object, let me have v1, v2, v3, v4, so on, vn. Initially, the first two values will be selected by reduce function. That means v1 and v2 will be selected. And after selecting these elements, these values, it places them in first variable and second variable. The first value will be placed in first variable and second variable will have second value. Then the function comes into the picture. This function utilizes the values. Both the values will be utilized of function first variable and the second variable and applies the logic on it. Whatever the logic that we have will be applied on both these values, value 1 and the value 2. And that value on whatever the logic that gets applied on value 1 and value 2 will return as a result. Yes. At the end, it is going to result something. Then what does reduce function does is it places the result of the function. Whatever the function that we have, the result that has been obtained from value 1 and value 2 will be placed in first variable again. Will be placed in first variable again and selects the third value. The next element, whatever the next element that we have in the sequence will be selected and it will be placed in the second variable. That will be placed in the second variable. And it repeats both step 2 and step 3 continuously until, it returns only a single value. The process continues. Both the steps will be repeated, step 2 and step 3. And it just returns the result for the first variable. So that is how we are going to get only a single element or a result for reduce function. And this reduce function, it is not available inbuilt. So we get it from a predefined module called functools. There is a module called functools and we access this reduce function from functools. Right? Yes. I hope it's clear. There are few examples related to reduce function. We'll just complete it. We'll understand the functions topic. So what am I doing? In order to access reduce function, we know that reduce function is not available directly. We are accessing it from a module. What is a module? A module is a collection of classes, variables, functions. Okay. Anyhow, the next topic is modules. We'll understand more about the modules there, not here. So in order to use or access any of the functions from the modules like functools, I have to import the module first. So that I'm importing functools. Module functools has been imported to the memory. Then what are we doing? We are just printing a message. Enter list of elements separated by space. So again, we are using the concept of comprehensions. So this is a list comprehension where it accepts multiple values and all of them will be converted to int type, and they get stored to a list object. So let me do it as well. Let me pass 5 values, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Done. Where they get stored? In the LST object. LST here. Done? Yes. Next to it, we are going to use reduce function. As we are aware of that reduce function is from functools, our syntax will be like functools dot reduce. As we have imported functools, and in order to access reduce function, it should be kept as functools dot reduce the function in which I have to pass the function name, the function and the iterable object. What is this function? It's an anonymous function which will return us the sum of the elements, 2 elements. And how many elements we have in list object LST? 5. So what will be the output of line number 4602? Will it be 20? Okay, let me give a try. My friend says 20. So initially what happens is, reduce takes the first 2 elements. What are they? 2, 3. Value 2 and value 3. Value 1 is 2, value 2 is 3. Then it will be passed to the function. So 2 plus 3 will be returned. 2 plus 3 will be returned. It is 5. Then reduce will assign this 5 to variable 1 and it takes the next element in the sequence. The next element is 4. So 4 will be assigned to variable 2. And these 2 elements will be passed to the function. So which returns 5 plus 4, which is 9. Again, the same guys. 9 will be returned to the variable 1. Then it goes and takes the next element in the order 5. So 9 plus 5 will be 14. The 14 will be returned to variable 1 and the last element in the sequence is 6. So these 2 elements will be passed to the function. So 14 plus 6 will be 20. You are right, my friend. 20 is my output. So when we pass a iterable object which contains many values to a reduce function, what's happening? It is reducing to a single result, a single value. To a single value. What will be the type of RES? The type will be reduce. And we are able to print the reduce RES results. Let me execute. I have executed RES here. And what is the type? It is int. The type will be int because it is storing an int value, right? 20. And it will also print the sum is equals to 20. I hope it's clear. Are you able to do it now? If I go to the next example. So what are we doing in the next example? In the next example, again we are going to use the concept of list comprehensions. List comprehensions is what we are using. Yes. Okay. Where it is asking us to enter the word separated by spaces. What does it does? It is going to add all of these values. Add the words. Okay. So whatever the words that we pass will be added. And it is going to form a list of words. So this is going to form a line. At the end, you'll get a line. So let me execute this entire program and let me pass some words. How are Python sessions? So these are the words that I am passing and see what's happening. What's happening? All these words will be initially stored in a list object. Which type? str type. And they will be concatenated. How? With a space. You see here it's a space. And it is going to frame a line. The line is, how are Python sessions? How are Python sessions is the line that we have got. And what will be the type? The type will be anyhow str. str. In the same way, okay, we also have one more example for reduce. What it is going to do, friends, here? We are passing a list of values, a list object we are passing in which it is going to check the big and the small. Only one value will be returned. Okay, the same logic. The first one is for the big value and the second one is for the small value. Yes. So let me execute all these lines and pass a list of values 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 7. Enter. See, it is reducing the output to a single result. A single value will be returned. Fine. Finally, what do we have? Okay. So these are the examples of till here. That's it. Understood? Did you understood the concepts of reduce, map and filter? Yes. We have understood the concepts of map, reduce and filter. For all these three functions, the syntax is same. Only the function is getting changed. Accordingly, the function, it is giving us the output. Function name, comma, iterable object. So if you use map, you'll get again an iterable object as output. If you use filter, yes, it will filter all the elements where the function returns true and you'll get a filter object as output. If I use reduce, so this reduce function will reduce the output to a single element. We'll obtain a single value as result. And this, the output for this type will be either int, float, str, bool. Yes, all these are, single results. This is what we get. Done. Yes. Now, let us understand about the courses that Nextera Unitech is providing. Let us go back and understand what exactly does Nextera Unitech is providing us. Nextera Unitech provides, comprehensive training programs. The first and the foremost thing that Nextera NEUT does is we offer trainings in the space of data analytics, data science, and AI. Even I hope many of you are satisfied. You are feeling awesome with our ongoing Python sessions, right? Yes. So that is how we stand out in the market, okay, with our quality trainings. And moreover, we'll have interactive learning. We'll have interactive learning, all the live sessions, and we mainly focus on hands-on practice. We'll focus on hands-on. And the capstone projects will be included as part of the curriculum. And we also have, the trainings on the industry standard tools like Python, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, Excel. Yes. Who can join these sessions? Might be a beginner or an advanced learner. Even working professionals can join our programs. Our training programs are fit for everyone because we have designed our programs for all type of, for each and every level. Right? Yes. Then coming to the point, all of us, we have started learning Python and we are continuing the journey, right? So today Python is one of the primary skill that each and every interviewer is looking up for. If you want to work in the space of IT, okay, so one skill that is mandatory is Python. So here we have all the different options. Why we have to learn Python is there are multiple answers for it. If you want to work in the space of data, you have to learn Python. Okay, they are used by top tech giants. Yes, obviously we have to go with Python. Python has to be learned. For building versatile applications, we use Python. Then, for rapid prototyping, automation, we have only one solution, that is learning Python. That is why we focus more on Python concepts. We focus more on core and advanced topics. More focusing will be done on all the core and advanced topics. Not even a single topic we are going to leave as part of our sessions. And we focus mainly on hands-on because this is not a movie, right? It's not a movie. Just watching the session and leaving. No, it doesn't work. Until unless if you make your hands dirty by doing practice hands-on, we can't learn Python. And this is our area where we focus. Right? Yes. Then your career will be awesome in the coming years if you are actually learning Python. Okay, it might be any space, a data science, the development, or even an engineering background. Okay, everyone started using Python for building their applications. For doing the preliminary task, they are using Python. So, guys, wake up. Still, if you are not learning Python, you will be in a trouble. You will face the consequences. If you are not going to learn Python, you will face the consequences. So learn Python as soon as possible. And not in a single domain. It can be any domain. Okay. Python was being implemented. Gaming, to build a gaming application, we are using Python in real time. E-commerce sites, e-commerce platforms, healthcare, automobile, manufacturing, edutech, finance and banking. In all these different domains, one common programming language that is used is Python, guys. Right? Yes. And what will be our salaries? If you are learning Python, your average salaries will be in the range of, here we have the average salaries. And all of these are genuine. We are not coming up with some random figures. All of these figures were being taken from, the browser. None of them are randomly kept here. No. And even if you want to cross check, you just go and do some kind of research. You'll get the same figures. Additionally, apart from Python, you should also learn a few more skills. Until unless if you are if you are hired as a developer, there only Python is required. But for other roles like data analyst, data scientist, AML engineer, whose salary is very vast, there we have to learn other skills. Right? Not only Python, focusing on other skills is also mandatory. We should have other skills. And these are the average salaries that we get paid in abroad, foreign countries. So that is why you see the packages in other currencies like euros, dollars. So learn Python as soon as possible. Why? You're paid huge. Your returns are very huge. When? If you are investing more, good amount of time in learning Python, for sure your returns will be very huge. Then coming to the plan, okay, our roadmap of Python program, we will be covering both core concepts and advanced concepts. Core and advanced topics along with NumPy and Pandas will be covered. All the 24 topics. Not even leaving a single topic. Under core and advanced, even the small topics under these will be discussed. You are not going to leave anything. Right? So this is very important, guys. Because we being at the starting stage, we have to learn Python. Don't just Blame yourself. Don't get regret once if you lose all this time. And you know, how much are we going to charge for this? We have everything available in the description. Okay, in the registration link, in the feedback link, we have everything, each and every single information we have provided there. At present, 80% off, a discount of 80% is what we are providing on this program, and utilize this opportunity. And this discount is actually available only for the month of May. Utilize it. Right. So why you have to choose Nextera Unitech? What makes you guys to choose Nextera Unitech is we provide 100% placement assistance. Genuine. The genuine 100% assistance will be provided from our side, and the prices are very affordable. Even if you go and do some research in the market, you'll understand they are very affordable. And you'll also have the support from the backup trainer. A backup trainer will be always available to clarify your doubts, your questions, and the technical assistance will be provided every time. You'll also get industry recognized certification and 1 year validity for the course. Hands-on learning is what we focus on more. Quality trainings we provide, and we also do capstone projects, and we have live interactive sessions. Live sessions, not recorded, guys. We'll have the sessions live. That is why you have to choose Nextera Unitech. Even if you go and do research in the market, obviously you'll understand why choosing NEUT will benefit you in the future. Right? Yes. And additionally, we have come up with some job-oriented industry standard paid course trainings. Use these trainings. Okay, so we have some standard paid course trainings. The first one was already discussed. Python course, where we cover core and advanced topics with NumPy and Pandas. And the second one is the same Python course in which core and advanced topics with NumPy and Pandas will be covered. Additionally, you'll also get internship with certification. You'll do internship and you'll get a certification. The third course will be in Python. You'll be learning both core and advanced topics with NumPy and Pandas. Post completing your training, you'll be working as an intern. Internship you'll complete. You'll get certificate, and you'll also work on a project. You can also work on a project. Right? Next to it. No, if this is not, if you are actually only looking out for only internship, even we provide internships where you will be working on a mini or major project. A mini project or a major project upon your requirement. Upon your requirement, you can choose the project, mini or major, and you can start your internship in NEUT. If not, just only the project. Only the project you are going to do with a certificate. You'll get an industry recognized certificate at the end of your project completion. And you know, on all these trainings, we have 80% off. A discount of 80% is being provided currently. So utilize this opportunity, guys. And whatever might be the course, whatever might be the paid course, you'll get certificate for each and every course. That means, let me take course number 2. Upon your completion of the trainings on core and advanced with NumPy and Pandas, you'll get 1 certificate, and upon your completion of internship, you'll get 1 more certificate. So 2 certificates. Course 3, how many certificates? 3 certificates. Why 3? 1 for course completion, 1 for internship, and 1 for project. Right? So utilize this opportunity. And finally, I would like to also, talk about our other courses. We also provide courses in the space of data analytics, data science, AI. So we have courses like data analytics program. Okay. So what topics will be covered? You have the list of all the topics here. Then, as part of data analytics program, we have all the complete details for this program. It is mentioned in this slide. And next to it, this data analytics was made to the next level by introducing Tableau in it. We also have data analytics with Tableau as a special course in which you will be learning both Power BI and Tableau. Both the BI tools will be covered. And the third program that we have is data science program, in which you will be learning machine learning algorithms. Apart from learning Python, SQL, Power BI, and you'll also learn machine learning. And here we have the entire details for the data science program, as well as data science with Tableau. The Tableau has been included in the data science program. You can also opt for this particular course if you are explicitly looking for learning Tableau. Yes. And the details for data science with Tableau program is provided. And finally, the core program of NEUT is providing sessions on data science with AI, artificial intelligence. So machine learning and deep learning will be covered as part of these sessions. Right? Yes. So all the information regarding the fees and the topics, each and every point you have in the feedback link. Just go through it before you fill the feedback link, and accordingly keep your responses. Okay, don't do it for namesake. Give the genuine responses, guys. If you are actually interested in learning up any of the course, only then select the right course. Okay, if not, don't select any of the course. If you are unless not looking for any of the course, don't select them. No. If you are interested, only then you have to select. Clear? And if you are more interested, even in the feedback link, In the feedback form, you'll have the number. You can contact team Nextera Unitech. Right. So any other questions related to the topic that we have covered today, or regarding our courses? So on these courses related to data analytics, data science and AI, currently 50% off is, we have 50% discount on all these programs. Utilize this opportunity, wonderful opportunity. Good. Yes, any technical questions? Yes, the feedback link has been provided. Give your feedback link. Give your feedback. And moreover, if you feel the session went well, hit on the like button, guys. And do subscribe to our channel and share these sessions to your connections. So our team, we have well-trained trainers. Okay, so they will be delivering the sessions on all these programs.